is Greg, and just to start, I'm a board certified allopathic trained emergency physician, and this is not a paid endorsement for Jose Santiago and Scalp Aesthetics in Tampa, Florida. Just a little background and how I got involved with Jose and his business is I became a client of his recently. This is my third session that I just completed. And what I had performed was a elimination of the obvious scar from my strip method for hair replacement I had approximately 10 years ago. All of the scar was without any bumps or bruises and healed very well because it was done by a close friend of mine who was a plastic surgeon in the business for about 30 years, and I had wonderful results. However, as I've grown a little older, I wanted to wear my hair a little shorter. However, what was obvious was the scar that was present. So I was introduced to his business through another physician who recommended to have the scar reduced, and although this physician said he wasn't a primary endorser because he works for another company, he did say it was a very good option for me to have. So it took about a good 2 months for me to really get an idea of the business involved and who to go to, because there were other places that were offered very close to me, and this is approximately an hour away, so it was a balance about where should I go and what was the best option. So going through Scalp Aesthetics and their website and speaking with some of the sales representatives and then actually meeting Jose, I found this was a very good fit because there was a few things to be involved. It wasn't just as simple as getting tattoo ink in your head and calling it a day. You had to really take a close look at the person performing it, and one thing is Jose has actually had the procedure performed by onto himself, which is a big testament. You don't want to have this done by somebody who has no idea and who's never suffered the hair loss symptoms you've had before. You want someone who's actually empathetic to your cause. That was a big importance. The other thing is there's a lot of organizations that are becoming to be involved, a lot of schools that are trying to teach this, and they're mostly by people for some reason with cosmetic experience, very little of it, and who have full heads of hair. So my thoughts and my empathy does not go towards these type of companies. I really need someone who's well experienced and who understands the whole process and is very well trained. Some of the thoughts that I put into this is like what type of ink they use, how do they do this procedure, what type of machine they use, making sure they're sterile and they're well trained. However, come to find out is that this ink that they use is a charcoal base. There are no dyes involved, so that means with the machine you have deeper penetration, a much longer lasting. A lot of these websites I've reviewed say that there's maybe a 3 to 5 year cycle that these inks will dissolve where you need touch up. This ink is essentially becoming a permanent, although there can be some loss over time, but overall it's a good permanent effect. And the type of needle they use, well, it's actually not actually a needle, it's a filament that's about the width of a hair follicle. It's a very soft tip and it provides a very good result. I'm very happy with the results. It looks just like hair stubbles, pretty fantastic. The other thing is this is by the operator themselves, and doing surgical procedures and a lot of procedures in the emergency department, the one thing is you need a persistent endurance, you need a very good aesthetic effect, but you need somebody who can maintain the job for a long period of time while getting consistent results each and every time, and that's what Jose has done. Each session lasted for 2 or 3 hours, and with the persistent, consistent effect that he had, maintaining a good aesthetic control of the design and making sure it came out in a wonderful way. It's like that is one of the more important aspects that you need for someone performing this procedure. The money needs to be spent on something like this. You cannot go cheap. It's not expensive, and it's not going to break the bank, but you have to be very aware that some of these places that offer very cheap discounts and a cheap price is you'll get what you pay for, type of thing. So, as I said, I'm not a paid endorser. This is just coming from the heart. You have to make sure you do your research, and you have to make sure who you're getting and the type of procedure performed and the type of equipment you use is all top notch. And that's what Jose seems to offer. And after being around for about a month for 3 sessions, it's very ecstatic about the results. Very happy I did this too. It takes a very large burden off my shoulders about the scar, and the scar is now covered up very well. The other thing is so this is just a side note, in case anybody wants to have the procedure done, think about this is taking a Tylenol and ibuprofen before you come is always appropriate. Eating a large meal but not drinking much, because you don't want to have to get up and go to the bathroom every 10 minutes. And the other thing is make sure you wear super comfortable clothing. That's actually will keep you a little warm, like sweatpants and maybe a long sleeve shirt to get through the procedure. And as I said, do your research. There's a lot of it online. There's a lot of information to overload you with. But actually what it boils down to is making sure you're with a good, solid